genesis of this phrase, the two Bidens, it comes from CNN's Jake Tapper. And it comes really with Jake Tapper's trademark duplicity. And by that, I mean, Jake Tapper has a book along with a guy named Alex Thompson, all about how there was a cover-up regarding Biden's mental state, right? Now, right away, you're thinking cover-up. Well, yeah, of course there was a cover-up. Wasn't there a cover-up by the Democrats and the media working hand in hand with each other? But apparently, Jake Tapper's view is no. We were misled. We were deceived. Now, there's all kinds of video which has come out of Jake Tapper himself promulgating the exact big lie that his book is now supposedly debunking. In other words, promoting himself the idea that Biden's fine. At one point, he says, he's talking, I think he's talking to Laura Trump, and he says something like, how dare you make fun of Biden's stutter? Because Laura Trump was basically saying this guy's incoherent, he can't put a sentence together. And for Jake Tapper, it was just all about his stutter. So Biden was just fine mentally. He was just as agile as ever, but unfortunately, the speech impediment, which he's had for years. So, Babylon Bee had a little post where they basically goes, Jake Tapper, after a lot of investigation, has basically discovered that Jake Tapper, was the origin of the big lie about Biden. But when Tapper was on TV recently, he tried to cover his tracks by saying, well, the reason that I thought Biden was okay is there are two Bidens. and Tapper was implying that there's smart Biden and comatose Biden. But you and I had an idea when we thought about this notion of the two Bidens, and that is that the idea that there really are two Bidens.
Yeah, two Bidens. One of them is Barack Obama.
Exactly.
And the other one is Biden.
Right. So in other words, the comatose Biden is Biden, right? And the non-comatose Biden is not Biden at all. Now, it is interesting. I saw James Comer, the congressman, and he's saying, we have to subpoena these White House aides to figure out who was using the auto pen, right? But I think this is itself an error here because, there's nothing wrong in bringing the aides forward because it's not a matter of who was deploying the auto pen, but who was directing the use of the auto pen. Those are, I think, different entities. There are obviously going to be some lower level staffers in the White House who are doing the mechanics of it. But who's calling the shots?
Right.
Who and that we think is very likely Barack Obama, right?
That's right.
Of course, you remember the famous statement by Obama where he basically said that he just wouldn't mind. Let me. I have it right here. I'm going to quote it. In fact, there's a very funny post by Liz Churchill on X. She goes, I found the auto pen, right? And then she has a picture of Obama. And Obama says, if I could make an arrangement where I have a stand-in or front man.
Yeah. Well, we put this in the movie.
We did. And I'm just reminding people. And they have an earpiece. And I was in my basement in my sweats. I mean, this guy's literally delivering a script of how it went down for the past 4 years. Yeah. I could deliver the lines, but somebody else is doing the talking. I'd be fine with that. I mean, this is a really, it's remarkable that he said this.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
is there a better description of what we've been living under?
Not to mention, why did he get a house just blocks away?
Right. So it's worth noting that customarily, Reagan finishes his presidency, goes back to Malibu, right? Bush goes back to the ranch. Mm-hmm. This is, in fact, what everybody does. Mm-hmm. Carter did that. Bush did that, except Barack Obama. Mm-hmm. And we think, now this really should not be that hard to find out. And this is another kind of criminal negligence by the media, but we know why they're so negligent. It's because they don't want this to come out. They could have easily done research into the connections between Obama or the Obama household and the White House.
Well, don't you think that they would have all that hidden? I mean, why not? Why, usually you have a record of visitors at the White House. Well, why do you think that they would be, if they weren't honest about Biden, what makes you think they would be honest about who is going to the White House.
No, I agree. I mean, what I'm saying is I think that if they had the desire to find out, they could. But no, they were covering up. They probably had a good sense that somebody else was playing the fiddle, so to speak. They probably had a good sense who it was. And remember, there were a number of Obama's aides who transferred over to Biden. And so it's logical that this Obama operation would continue to be running the White House. I think the revelation is just that they were doing it without Biden. This July, there's a global summit of BRICS nations in Rio de Janeiro, the bloc of emerging superpowers, including China, Russia, India, Iran. They're meeting with the goal of displacing the U.S. dollar as the global currency. They're calling this the Rio Reset. As BRICS nations push forward with their plans, global demand for U.S. dollars could decrease, bringing down the value of the dollars in your savings. While this transition won't happen overnight, the Rio Reset in July marks a pivotal moment when BRICS objectives may move decisively from theoretical possibility toward reality. So learn if diversifying your savings into gold, like I did, is right for you. Birch Gold Group can help you to move your hard-earned savings into a tax-sheltered IRA in precious metals. Claim your free information kit on gold by texting my name, Dinesh, to 989898. Birch Gold has an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau, tens of thousands of happy customers. Let Birch Gold arm you with a free, no-obligation information kit on owning gold before July and the Rio Reset. So act now. Text Dinesh to 989898 today.